So the proximity card got more research of rhetoric coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logical Reasoning. As always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So I have more research of rhetoric for y'all. Now, the proximity card is an example of fictitious notion. Again, a bunch of nonsense that black people believe. That's just simply not true, and it's never ceased to amaze me how much nonsense black people believe that's not true. But I know I've done several episodes of the proximity card ever since I've started making videos. But the reason why I do this is because black people keep crying about the proximity. They keep crying about the proximity card, and they keep using it as an excuse. That's why I keep making videos, increasing the likelihood of someone seeing one and being able to destroy that nonsense. Also, increasing the likelihood of one of these brainwashed blacks seeing this and not being able to really argue against it and maybe start to question. And then leads their journey away from black victimhood. And also the black victims who just don't want to hear anything, I would love to see them try to defend against it, try to come up with an argument against it. But anyway, anytime we start talking about how, as black people, the greatest danger to you is going to be another black person. It's not going to be a white person. Okay, it's not going to be an Hispanic person. It's going to be a black person. So then why we worry about what white folks are doing, always crying white this, white that, this obvious, this notion of this danger that white people pose to black people when the greatest danger to you is another black person. Well, the proximity card is the typical go-to excuse to try to explain that away. Now, the argument is that, people commit crimes against those who they are around. You commit crimes against the people that you're around. Typically, you're in proximity to. Now, I will say, that is the truth. There is a truth element to the proximity card. That's the true part about it, is that people do commit crimes against the people who they are around. I have no argument against that. It is true. Because, a white person is more likely to commit a crime against another white person that they're around. Right? An Hispanic person is more likely to commit a crime against another Hispanic person if they're around him. An Asian person more likely to commit a crime against another Asian person that they are around. A Native American, same thing. They're much more likely to commit crimes against other Native Americans if they're around them, especially on those reservations. So that is a truth element. However, that's all the truth there is to the proximity card. The problem, though, with the proximity card, it explains that, committing crimes against people that you're around. But what it doesn't explain, excuse the way, is the fact that black folks are committing crime in such mass. Because, yes, although all these other groups of people are around each other, they're not committing crime at the same rate as black people are. Okay? There's a black, again, if that were the case, if it was just simply proximity, then black people wouldn't be 13% of America and responsible for half the murders in this country. Because we'd be 13% of the population and responsible for 13% of murders, because everybody else will be committing murder and violent crime at the same rate that we are. Now, I know a lot of black people, they'll love to jump to other crimes and pedophilia and arson and all that other stuff. The fact is, they don't impact society like murder and violent crime does. Let's be real. Nobody's impacted as negatively impacted by white collar crime or somebody embezzling money from a company than they are violence and murder. So that's BS. Now, as I said, being in proximity to each other doesn't mean that black folks have to basically commit mass crime. So in reality, it's not proximity. Proximity is not really the problem. It's behavior that's the problem. It's mentality that's the problem. So instead of pulling out the proximity card, they should be pulling out the behavior card to explain away why black folks are so violent and committing murder at such a high rate. Again, as a black person, you're a lot more safer living around other white people than you are being in proximity to other white people than you are to be in proximity to black folks who are committing mass crime. So this whole proximity card, once again, is a stupid attempt to try to deflect away from reality, because the problem with black victimhood is that black victimhood has to blame, everything has to be blamed on white supremacy. That's all black victimhood is about, blaming white supremacy and never addressing the real issues of blacks, and always finding ways to deflect away from black responsibility to shift everything to white responsibility. Anyway, y'all, if you ever hear any one of these race hustles, any one of these pro-blacks, any one of these black victims crying, pulling out the proximity card, well, now you know, and knowing it's half the battle. And as always, y'all, until next time.